All right, we are back grading your Dynasty football trades.
That's
now,
right.
if you want your trade to be considered, pretty simple. Join our Discord with the link that is in the description, and then go to the text channel that says Dynasty Trades.
Yes.
Anytime you place a trade in there, we consider it for these videos each week. But shout out to Robo, ROB3L.
Something like that.
This is the first trade that we are looking at. You can now see it on the screen. Context, it is a 12-man PPR Superflex league. And I chose this one because I am hoping potentially we are on the opposite side. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
But Team A has Stafford and Akers, both players that you love, Badaki. Team B has Breece Hall and Davis Mills. I'm not saying that you're against these players, but you've been very outspoken about your love for Stafford and Cam. I'm not saying you have to choose that side, but I was kind of seeing if we could have a little good debate here.
A good debate.
Where do you stand
So
here?
you're hoping
Where do you
that
stand here?
I'm Team B.
I am hoping you are Team A.
Okay. Well, I think the player, or no, I think the team that won is actually Team A, Matthew Stafford, Cam Akers. In my opinion, I think this is.
So you are Team A?
Yeah, I am Team A.
Okay, this is going to be good.
I think this team won by a mile, in my personal opinion, Matthew Stafford, Cam Akers. And as much as I love Breece Hall, I think it's okay to get Breece Hall, but I think the longevity and the thought process of this is that this is a super flex league. Matthew Stafford could be here for another 4 to 5 years in LA with Sean McVay in this team that can go back to back to back. I mean, this past year he finished as a top 5 quarterback. And then yes, Davis Mills is there, and he's been a silent guy, but kind of deadly. But you could lose him next year. That's the problem. That's my scare, and that's why I'm going with the longevity and the consistency. If Cam Akers doesn't work out, because I am a Cam Akers believer, if Cam Akers does not work out, I do believe he'll probably fall off, probably be a running back by committee if that doesn't work out. Because I don't think he's just going to disappear. I think worst case scenario is going to go into running back by committee, which I don't believe LA is a running back by committee. You probably do. For me, Team A wins for me, no doubt about it.
All right, well, this is good. I mean, I think it's really close. I really do think this is very close. I think this is what we could consider a win-win trade, and I'll explain that later. But if I had to choose, give me Team B. Firstly, let's talk about Breece versus Akers. I've said this before, but Breece, for me, I do think that we're going to be talking about him as the RB2 come midseason in Dynasty. I do think that is probably more likely than people realize.
Right.
When I think about running backs who have the following: talent, age, workload, long-term security, that list is extremely short. So for me, when I look at Breece Hall, I feel like he's going to cost multiple firsts, this time next year. So I think his value is set to increase, while I feel like Cam Akers, in my opinion, there's a lot more question marks around him. I have 2 main worries. The injury. I've talked about that.
Yep.
He will have to break a mold of history. But secondly, you said, Zach, you're probably going to say that's a running back rotation, and you said you don't think it is. Well, I think it is, and I think that's because we've seen a history of it. So 2020, percentage of teams rushing attempts, Cam Akers had 30%. Darrell Henderson had 29%. Malcolm Brown had 21%. How about 2021? Sony Michel, 49%. Darrell Henderson, 35%. So it's pretty rare to find a Sean McVay team outside of Todd Gurley who, a running back is really getting more than 55 to 60% of the workload. It's just not very common from the history of Sean McVay's teams outside of Todd Gurley.
All right.
Secondly, Stafford versus Mills, and this is where it's really difficult, right? Because as much of an upgrade it is from Akers to Breece, I would argue that Stafford is just as big of an upgrade over Mills. It really is, especially thinking about their startup values. So for me, this could be truly one of the closest trades I've seen in a while. And the reason I say it's a win-win is because based off of these teams' rosters, this could make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the team that is trading away Breece already has enough running back depth to compete. Starting running backs, good running backs they can rely on, and they needed a quarterback to complete that super flex lineup. So for me, I truly do see this as a win-win, depending on if the rosters really line up. But I would prefer Team B here. What's your grades for this trade?
I think Team A wins by a mile. Just before I give my team grade, I do believe Matthew Stafford is it's so hard because didn't you traded him for 2 firsts? I think it's pretty.
I did.
I think it's pretty equal to like say like, well, if Cam Akers doesn't work out, at least you can sell Matthew Stafford for 2 firsts and still get another young quarterback in 2023 and a running back in 2023.
No, for sure. There's no questioning Stafford's value.
Yeah. But for me, Team A, I gave it an A minus, and Team B, I gave it a B minus.
Okay.
That was my grades.
I thought this was really close. So I said Team A, B, Team B, a B plus.
Okay.
I saw this as a very, very close trade.
Mm-hmm.
And, I guess, Cam might not work out and you can sell Stafford, but at the same time, we both have high hopes for Mills. So maybe Mills does pan out and then this is a home run. Who knows? But it feels like a win-win.
It does.
Second trade is from Mr. Mayhem 86.
Mayhem 86.
He said context, Corral was a 302 in the rookie draft. Okay, so Team A has CeeDee Lamb, Matt Corral. Team B has Garrett Wilson, a 23 first, a 23 third, and a 23 fourth. What side do you lean here?
I'm going Team B. Garrett Wilson in the 23 class, essentially. And the way I saw this is that, the way I think it happened is that they swapped the Garrett Wilson and CeeDee Lambs. Because I do believe CeeDee Lamb is more talented than Garrett Wilson. He was in a better class, and just an overall, like I said, overall better talent. So when you when you look at this trade, CeeDee Lamb has the edge, but Garrett Wilson I don't believe is that far behind because I do believe in his talent because he was my number 1 wide receiver in this draft, and I believe in Zach Wilson. Then it really comes down to Matt Corral. You already got that back in the 2023 third round. Matt Corral. It's not somebody that I'm really surprised in. Obviously, there's a lot of other he went to the Panthers. He could get an opportunity. I don't believe he's going to break out tremendously. But what you got also in return is that 2023 first. The caliber of players that are coming in that class is just as big as CeeDee Lamb as a wide receiver. It's just as big as not any other quarterback, but it's just as big as a quarterback that we truly believe in right now. That's the way this class is being talked about, right? This is a big, very talented class that can change the next steps for the NFL. So to get that 23 first, no matter where it is, I think that value could be as equal as CeeDee Lamb, no matter whether that's a quarterback, no matter whether that's a wide receiver, even the running back in that class. I think you win by a mile. You just get extras in the 4th round, even though that's nothing. It's a throwaway pick. I think if you get that third, it can. And mind you, that third, that could be a better ceiling. Could be a better and higher ceiling than Matt Corral. So
if any starting quarterbacks go next year, you assume they're not available.
Oh no, for sure. And I'm not saying just like as a quarterback in general. I'm saying just any talent. In the 3rd round, you were getting Shakira, Wan'Dale Robinson. You were getting Jalen Toe was going in the 2nd. Like those type of guys that we believe in a bad class. Imagine the guys that we would believe in the 3rd round in a good class. So that's how I'm seeing it. So that's why Team B won for me.
All right, your Team B. Give me Team A here. It's very close. This deal is very close. But let me tell you how I actually view this deal.
Okay.
I couldn't care less about Matt Corral. I don't give a shit. I couldn't care less about the 2023 third or the 2023 fourth. I don't give a shit. I'll be honest with you. Okay. The odds that Corral, the 3rd and the 4th pick, turn into fantasy relevant players is about the same chance of me making it into the NBA at this point of my life. It's a very slim chance that those become relevant fantasy players. Could be wrong. Obviously, anything can happen. So I really view this trade as CeeDee Lamb or Garrett Wilson in a 23 first. Can't predict where that first is going to be, by the way. So we can't say, well, what if it's top 5? Well, we don't know. I'm assuming the player that he's just gave the team that he just gave CeeDee Lamb to is a good team, right? Because otherwise it doesn't make sense to move that 23 first. So in your mind, you have to kind of consider, well, that's probably a pretty good team that he just moved that 23 first to. So it's probably going to be a back half of the draft board. Like I've always said, perception is reality. Same thing in the game of Survivor. It's the same thing in Dynasty. Perception is reality. And perception for the Dynasty trade market is consistently changing. All right. I have some slight concerns for Garrett Wilson as a rookie. I like him as a talent. I liked Chris Olave a little bit better. So you can see maybe some bias coming here. But I view this as a true breakout year for CeeDee, and I'm not sure that Garrett Wilson's going to come out strong out of the gates. For CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper's gone. Okay.
Yep.
CeeDee will be the alpha. Dak Prescott at quarterback. The Dallas D arguably got worse. That division got better. So there's going to be hopefully more points that need to be scored. This is a make or break year for CeeDee Lamb. Think about it. CeeDee Lamb needs to establish himself as a dominant wide receiver in the NFL this year. He has to. Amari Cooper is gone. For Garrett Wilson, I like the talent, but there is questions around Zach Wilson's consistency. I mean, even you and I, we both love Elijah Moore, but his best weeks came with who at quarterback?
Yeah, Brother White.
Mike White. So there's still question marks around Garrett Wilson. And I'm not even so sure that he's going to get a bigger target share than Elijah Moore year one.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't tell you who's going to get the higher target share, genuinely. So for me, the pathway to relevancy in year one is harder. And as I mentioned, perception is reality. And if we're halfway through the year and Garrett Wilson is, the wide receiver 45 at that point, then, perception's reality. And you can then go trade for Garrett Wilson, probably for cheaper than what it's going to cost here.
True.
So for me, I have doubts about Garrett Wilson's start, not his career, his start. And I really see this as a true breakout for CeeDee. So I am going to take the CeeDee Lamb side. And like I said, that 23 first, you have to assume if a team is making this deal and sending a first, because anytime I send a first away, I hate to say it, but breaking news, I'm going to try and compete. You know what I mean? So for me, I think I would take CeeDee Lamb here, but it is close. It's another one of those close trades.
I was thinking, with this class, it feels like the first round, no matter where you are, that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like right now. And I could be wrong. It just feels like everyone in that first round is going to be of value. You hope, because it also depends on their landing spot. So all that's going to change. But that, once again, that's just what it feels like.
You know what's dangerous about that, though, right? You know what's dangerous about that? This time last year, check every single 2022 NFL mock draft. Sam Howell was the number one pick off the board in every draft. So you have to be careful projecting too far. I agree. I love the talent, but who knows where that pick's going to be and if that player pans out. So I love the 23 class as well. I kind of get where you're coming from, but hopefully bringing some perspective from where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
But I gave Team A a B+ and Team B a B. So I thought, again, these were two very close trades. I thought they could make a lot of sense for both teams. And I could see them going either way. I just have slight preferences.
Okay. I gave Team B a B+ and Team A a B-. I think this is a fairly even trade with the way.
Well, I assume you have that flopped around because you have Team A winning this one.
Yeah, I do. I do have it flopped around.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm wrong there. You have Team B.
Well, I know you were reading
My
it.
bad.
Yeah, you were reading it wrong. That's why. Well, you're reading it right, but it was just wrong in the notes.
Anyway, you have Team B on this one.
Correct.
Comment down below, guys. Let us know what your thoughts are on these trades.
Yo, what's good?
What
Thanks
up?
for watching. We got a lot more videos.
A lot more.
If you want more videos.
Watch
now,
it.
You can also subscribe
Right now.
if you want to.
You need to.
And lastly, don't forget that you can sign up to support the show and get exclusive content by going to patreon.com/FantasyLandFam.